توب ستوريز من وطن الكرامة.
Hello, welcome to Watan al-Karama News Channel. It is 9 p.m. our time for top stories, and we start with latest developments in Libya. Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces General Khalifa Haftar held a meeting with the Chief of General Staff Major General Abdullah Razak al-Nazuri and Prime Minister Abdullah al-Thani in presence of Ministers of Finance and Planning. The meeting held at the headquarters of the General Command in Marj discussed the current security situation in Libya, developments of the battles against terrorism, as well as a general review of the situation on the ground. For his part, Thani stressed that his government was going ahead using all potentials to logistically and politically support the armed forces. Spokesman for the General Command of Libyan Armed Forces, Major Mohammed Hijazi, said that Libya will continue fighting against terrorism without paying attention to positions of some neighboring countries that reject that war. Hijazi noted that terrorist Daesh group is trying to take from Libya appears to continue its infiltration to neighboring countries and Europe, adding that the armed forces are working to destroy positions of terrorist Daesh group. Moreover, Hijazi called on media to investigate the accuracy of news transferred about the armed forces and necessity of receiving the statements of the official spokesman for the General Command of the Armed Forces. Military sources reported that Special Forces No. 43 carried out an operation during which they stormed a position of terrorist groups. The sources added that the operations resulted in death of 6 leaders of terrorist groups, including foreign nationals, during a secret meeting held by them. Parliament's Dialogue Committee member Abu Bakr Ba'ira commended the meeting, which took place in New York and brought together participants in political dialogue in presence of member states of Security Council and the European Union. Ba'ira noted that the meeting was to confirm the agreement draft providing for achieving a political solution is a summary of previous talks and it's final and must be signed, and that the parties can agree on candidates for the national unity government as soon as possible. Ba'ira also noted that the participants in the meeting expressed urgent need to reach a political consensus between the Libyan parties, adding that the outgoing National Congress was asked through speech to sign the agreement draft. Parliament member Dr. Yunus Fanoush said that the agreement formula that the United Nations wants to impose on Libya is just a formula to compensate the remains of the outgoing Congress for its ended mandate. Fanoush added that this trend could also help them to return back to power and give them a better positions, if not higher than the legitimate authority represented by Parliament. Fanoush stressed that he rejects any agreement or government arising from this dialogue, reiterating his regret about the positions of Parliament, which has proved that it's not aware of reality and seriousness of the situation. 2 people were killed after a landmine blast in Salem border area while they were trying to immigrate to Libya. Security sources confirmed that Assistant Egyptian Interim Minister Major General Hisham Lutfi received information from police in Matruh that they found the bodies of 2 unidentified people following an explosion of a landmine in Salem border area. The sources added that they are being transferred to Matruh General Hospital. Libyan newspaper has stressed that the Egyptian authorities have tightened their grip on people arrived from Libya through Salem port, except for those who had visas allowing them to cross. The newspaper pointed out that the Libyan could previously cross into Europe without possessing visas as long as they were coordinating with Tobruk government. The newspaper noted that although those Libyans hold passport providing that they were born in Tobruk, Be'r al-Ashab and Msaad, they should first register at Tobruk government that they are willing to cross into Egypt. The Spanish government said Spain and Morocco arrested 10 people today suspected of belonging to a ring that recruited fighters for terrorist Daesh groups in Syria and Iraq. Spain's interim minister said in a statement that those arrested belong to a network of people that recruited, indoctrinated and sent foreign fighters to join Daesh in the Iraqi and Syrian regions under its control. Spain and Morocco, as well as other countries in Europe and North Africa, have been stepping up efforts to tackle radicalized citizens joining Daesh militants and returning home to try and launch attacks. By the end of September, Spain had been involved in the arrest of 71 suspected terrorist militants at home and abroad, from 46 in the whole of 2014, according to interim ministry figures. Russian planes have flown to many stores in Syrian airstrike and struck 10 terrorist Daesh targets in the past 24 hours, the country's defense ministry said in a statement today. Aerial footage released by ministry today showed that it said operations in the northwestern Syria and south of the town of Idlib. The videos show several explosions hitting targets on the ground and plumes of smoke blowing over the landscape. Another video released was just located in Idlib province. Russia has said it would step up its airstrikes in Syria, escalating a military intervention which Moscow launched on Wednesday to weaken terrorist Daesh militants, but which Western powers say aims to support President Bashar al-Assad. The ministry said that the strikes had hit targets in the Idlib and Raqqa provinces, including a terrorist training camp and a suicide belt factory. The strikes, which it called pinpoint, had also destroyed 3 ammunition stores and 4 terrorist Daesh command centers, the ministry added. Now about Merkel and Hammond reactions. Britain senior foreign minister said today Russia cannot fight terrorist Daesh militants in Syria and support President Bashar al-Assad at the same time. Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond told the Conservative Party conference in the northern city of Manchester that Russian support for the regime would drive the opposition in Syria into the arms of terrorist Daesh group. The United States and its Western allies say Russian warplanes are bombing areas where extremist Daesh group does not hold sway and has hit insurgents. In another development, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel told a German radio station that military efforts were necessary in Syria, even though they wouldn't put an end to the 4-year-old civil war there. Merkel said that she has spoken to Russian President Vladimir Putin about the conflict in Syria on the sidelines of a meeting in Paris on Friday with him and the leaders of France and Ukraine. Merkel also said it would be necessary to involve the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in talks. Now, my audience, we transfer to Afghanistan. Medicine Frontier MSF demanded an immediate explanations after an airstrike hit a hospital run by the humanitarian organization in Afghan city of Kunduz. At least 19 people were killed in what the US military called possible collateral damage in the battle to oust Taliban insurgents. MSF Director of Operation in process said that while hospitals was not far from conflict ongoing in Kunduz, the organization did not believe there was any clear target close to the hospital. MSF said it gave locations of the hospital to both Afghan and US forces several times in the past few months, mostly recently this week, to avoid being caught in crossfire. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani's spokesman said last week there would be no airstrike inside the city because of the risk of mass civilian casualties. And now, my audience, we transfer to Nigeria. Nigerian security sources said suspected militants from Nigeria's Boko Haram group killed 3 civilians and soldiers in a double suicide attack across the border in Nigeria today. A security official said that 4 attackers also died in Niger's southeastern region of Difa, and authorities were searching for 2 more suspects. Niger, Cameroon, and Chad have all suffered a spillover of violence from Boko Haram's northern Nigerian stronghold. Niger has arrested at least 1,100 suspects to Boko Haram militants this year and has placed its Difa region under a state of emergency. Difa, which borders Nigeria, has suffered at least 57 attacks since February, statistics published by the United Nations showed. Meanwhile, multiple plus killed 18 and injured 41 in the Nigerian capital of Abuja. As yet, no one has claimed responsibility for the attacks. The first blast went off near a police station in Koji, some 40 kilometers from the center of Abuja. The second hit a bus stop in Nayana. It was the second attack in Nyanya after insurgents killed dozens there in April last year. My audience, that is the wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website www.watalkarama.tv. Thanks very much for being with us. My greeting, Rانيا البليدى.